Hey guys, what is going on? You are checking out a special Friday night edition of the RCWR show. We are covering NWA Hard Times. This is your pay-per-view recap review show. Thank you guys so much for checking out this special edition. Yeah, so we had a little bit of a delay. You guys got to forgive me because originally I was under the impression that the pay-per-view was going to be coming on at 8 p.m. Eastern. I had no idea that the pay-per-view actually came on at 7 p.m. Eastern, so I actually had stayed at work a little late, came home. I thought I was going to have enough time to make dinner, do a couple of things around the house, get in a quick little nap, and then check out the pay-per-view. But yeah, so for those of you that were waiting for our pay-per-view recap as soon as it had concluded, now you know what was kind of going on there. I had estimated that we were going to be coming on at 10:15 or 10:30, but it didn't work out like that. I thought the pay-per-view was going to be a bit shorter compared to the Into the Fire pay-per-view event. Hey, I'm actually glad that we got basically, 2 hours and about 30 minutes and some change or something like that from tonight's Hard Times event. Hey, I enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Kick on back, grab a nice, tall, cool one. Let's get into this pay-per-view recap. If you're expecting me to talk about SmackDown, we normally do that on the Monday shows. This is nothing but love for NWA Hard Times pay-per-view recap. All right, so got to tell you, overall, love this pay-per-view. I love this. Now, some people maybe are tempting to ask, Lee, compared to Into the Fire, I'm not really going to compare. What I will say that as far as the momentum that was built going into the Into the Fire pay-per-view and then setting up the Hard Times pay-per-view, I got to tell you that momentum is right there. I mean, right there. It is damn freaking equal, right? So I got to give, from the bookers to Dave Lagana, just everybody involved behind the scenes and making everything with NWA Power, all of it culminating to what they did with tonight's NWA Hard Times pay-per-view. My hat's off, because what they did tonight, the foundation they laid out was phenomenal. We got a couple of new champions. Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this. All right, so let's kick things off. Our first match of the night. Before we even get to the first match, can we talk about the opener, right? You had this nice, grainy, kind of a Johnny Cash style type of feel that was going on with the intro, and they were showing you many still shot videos of some of the rivalries that's been going down, setting up the pay-per-view for tonight. And visually, you're going, wow, that's pretty pleasing to the eye, especially when some of the things that they had showed had incorporated a little bit of blood. People were bleeding, but it's all in black and white and everything. You're going, oh man, this is badass. But then you kind of go, wait a minute now. And that wait a minute comes in when you hear Billy Corgan, who's doing some acoustic song, and he's basically singing the Hard Times theme. And so, if you're not really big into acoustic music, then this might have not been your cup of tea. I'll go a step further. If you're not really a fan of Billy Corgan as a solo act, Billy Corgan doing acoustics, then this theme you really weren't feeling. I'll go a step further than that. If you're not even really a Smashing Pumpkins fan, then what you had heard from them for the opener, or Billy Corgan essentially, wasn't your cup of tea. It was very, very thus acoustic, very slow paced, very, it didn't have any gravitas to it as far as I was concerned. It really, really didn't. And I don't like saying that because I'm a big Smashing Pumpkins fan. I'm a big Billy Corgan fan and everything. But as far as the song selection, on the one hand, I can say, hey, kudos that as far as trying to be original goes and everything, because that was pretty badass how they had used that. What was the band for the Into the Fire theme from back in the day? I thought that was brilliant how they used that. Everything about the Into the Fire pay-per-view, everything was captured essentially in that powerful song, I felt. But this one, it was just a couple of points deduction. But other than that, Yeah, production wise, once again, coming to us from hot Atlanta, Georgia. Hot Atlanta, Georgia. I love the people that were in attendance there for the pay per view. And if you were paying attention to the last pay per view, you were really focusing in on the first 3 rows. You know that there was essentially, compared to Into the Fire and this one, a lot of the fans were back again, the same people as before. Here they are again. And either it was a case where they had the same seats or they were somewhat in the same vicinity. Y'all know how I was pretty hard on the one fan that was, I don't know if she was with her man or what, but the one that could not get into the pay-per-view for the love of her. Go back and check out the NWA Into the Fire recap for that one. But yeah, this one, GPB Studios, once again in hot Atlanta, Georgia, for your Hard Times pay-per-view event. First matchup of the evening, we had Trevor Murdoch taking on the Question Mark. This was your NWA Television Championship Tournament first round, and we would see a series of these. As a matter of fact, to the point, the first 3 matches was for the NWA World Television Championship first round tournament matches, right? All right, so first up, Trevor Murdoch taking on the Question Mark. This match, it didn't last that long at all. As a matter of fact, I don't even think this match had clocked in at 10 minutes. It kind of felt like maybe it was about 7 minutes and some change. It might have been even less than that. I BS you guys not. BS you guys not. One thing that has always baffled me with regards to Trevor Murdoch, by the way, and I really want to sing the praises of Trevor Murdoch right now. And for those of you that's just joining in, you didn't miss anything just yet. We are, if you're checking this out live, you didn't miss anything. We just got started talking about Hard Times. But if you're new, welcome. Make sure that you subscribe and all that good stuff. But one thing about Trevor Murdoch I want to home in on, I've been a fan of Trevor Murdoch's for some years, to the point I remember when him and Lance Cade were doing their thing in the WWE, Cade and Murdoch. I thought that was just a phenomenal freaking tag team. I never, ever, ever wanted to see those guys break up. I thought they were perfectly made for each other. I felt it was the perfect heavenly combination, peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, jelly is kind of good to a certain degree on certain things, and peanut butter is good to a certain degree on certain things, just as itself, right? By its lonesome. But together, oh my God, that's the stuff that dreams are made of. But you looked at Lance Cade, again, in the WWE universe and everything, in the WWE realm, and you just kind of felt that, well, look, Lance Cade, he's got a great freaking look. Look at that physique. Look at that face. Look at that smile. He's kind of got that nice charisma thing going on. You might have a bona fide future solo superstar there. And then, well, what about Murdoch, right? And it's kind of interesting because if you guys remember, when they did eventually split those guys up, what a lot of us thought was going to probably end up happening was the reverse. It was actually Trevor Murdoch that had caught a bit of momentum, and whereas Lance Cade, he kind of plummeted a little bit there, right? So, but for Trevor Murdoch, I've had his name in the back of my head, and I've looked up some of the stuff that he's been doing over the years, and essentially he's been a journeyman when it's all said and done. And I just think that at 39 going on 40, how much of a great travesty that it is that no major promotion out there ever reached out to him over the years and tried to make him be a part of their roster. I just personally felt that was really, what the fuck? How do you drop the ball on something like that? And I go on and on and on about Trevor Murdoch because anybody that is, I won't say a wrestling historian, but anybody that is at least a wrestling fan to the point you make it your business to know who that person is, where they've been, how many years they've been at it, and you've been checking out their matches and everything like that. You try to look up their bio and everything. You know that Trevor Murdoch is a student from Harley Race's school. So, and if you see a lot of his matches, you can pick up a lot of Harley Race when you're looking at them. And For me, I just always have found it kind of baffling that Trevor Murdoch, all these years that's passed, and he's just been a journeyman. Nobody has ever really gone to him and, hey, we want you to come in. I think he would be phenomenal, not just from. Now, look, I really want to double down on this. Am I saying as far as, world championships? And I'm not even looking at it from that standpoint. I'm looking at it more so from the standpoint of someone that can help your tag division, or maybe someone that can help you out as far as the mid card goes, low mid card, or, maybe in a better suited role, somebody in a backstage capacity, maybe as a booker, a producer of the matches, a trainer, right? A guy like Trevor Murdoch. I've just always found it kind of baffling that he's been out there all this time. But hey, I'm glad that NWA is doing stuff with him. Yeah, Trevor Murdoch, like I said, in about under 5 minutes, I'll say, and that's final. The match that he had with Question Mark, it really didn't go anywhere. It really didn't. As a matter of fact, closing moments of this matchup, we saw Murdoch connect with his signature bulldog from the top rope. And it was interesting because just when you thought that was it, because normally, since at least in the NWA, when we've seen Trevor Murdoch hit that move, that's it. It is over. But Question Mark actually kicked out of it. And Murdoch looked pretty damn stunned, and right down to the point, you even had Stu Bennett and Joe Galli going, holy, hey, nobody's ever done that before on Trevor Murdoch's bulldog there. What does Trevor Murdoch have to do now? And so Question Mark still stunned, a bit dazed, still on all fours, but he's struggling to get to his feet. Murdoch quickly races over to the other side of the turnbuckle, climbs up on that, does another driving bulldog, and boom, that pretty much had sealed the deal. 1, 2, 3, Trevor Murdoch advances to the next round. Good matchup, and mind you, that is it for the undefeated streak of one Question Mark. Yeah, Question Mark, no longer undefeated in the NWA. Yep. Let's keep on going here. Our second matchup of the night, Zicky Dice took on Ring of Honor's Dan Math. I'll say Math because it looks like you can almost say math, but it's Math. M-A-F-F, Math. Taking on ROH's Dan Math. Now, I got to tell you, I haven't been really checking out NWA the past couple. Not NWA, but Ring of Honor. I haven't really been checking out Ring of Honor the past couple of weeks. So this Dan Math guy, he's relatively new to me, but I am quickly becoming a big fan of his. And so I am looking forward to next week's rounds of shows where I can talk a lot more about him. Because now that I've seen this guy with my own two eyes, not once, but twice tonight, a little bit of a spoiler there. Yeah, big fan. And the fact that he's been running as long as he has, it's got me wondering, well, wait a minute. Surely I've seen him wrestle under some different names, and it's just been a case where I forgot about him over the years or something like that. But man, this dude was freaking impressive. I loved his attire that he was wearing. Had this interesting sky blue, wide, the parental advisory sticker and all of that going on. I'm going, man, it's like he's coming out and he's some type of a NWA album cover or whatever. In a cool way, though. And not in a dissing way. In a really fucking cool way. Dug it on so many levels. I loved it. He's a big dude. Dude looks like he weighs at least about 300 and something pounds, give or take. At least 300, easy. Taking on Zicky Dice. Zicky Dice, not for nothing, but Zicky Dice is a thick dude himself. He might not be pushing 300 pounds, but he's a bit of a husky, kind of a thick guy himself. But how he was able to hang with Math, I got to give it up, because I looked at those two and at first I thought this is one-sided. But then as the match continued on, I'm going, no, this is actually pretty well freaking balanced. Closing moments of this one, Dice had looked for a move from the middle ropes, and he got met with a spear by Math followed up with a cannonball. Yes, you heard me right. 300-pound Dan Maff connected with a cannonball. Wait, it gets even cooler than that. Just picture a 300-pound dude running at you while you are laying on your back somewhat in the corner turnbuckle there, right? And you got this 300-pound dude coming at you, hitting with a running senton. Yeah, a cannonball followed up with a running senton. 1, 2, 3. Dan Maff advances. Hey, your color commentators, by the way, I got to give it up to Joe Galli and Stu Bennett. They did a phenomenal job together. I got to tell you, from the moment that we had saw Stu Bennett properly be introduced at the Into the Fire pay-per-view event, him and Joe Galli, they clicked very well. But if you've been watching, I know many of you guys have, the weeks of programming for NWA Power, they've really just been gelling even more and more. And everything culminating in tonight, I mean, their chemistry has just been flowing a lot more together. I know that when Stu Bennett had first came in, there was a couple of crossings that was going on with the commentating. Kind of felt as though you could tell Stu was really trying to find his grounding and everything. But man, just weeks and weeks apart going to now, they're really flowing a lot smoother. I would still like to see a little bit more personality kick in, so to speak. I'm not looking for anything along the lines of Jim Cornette. I'm not looking at anything from that standpoint, but what I am looking for is, I guess I'm kind of looking for a mild touch of what Jim Ross and, correction, not Jim Ross, but what Vic Joseph and Jerry Lawler do on Monday Night Raw. Just how it was kind of just flat at first and it's just reactionary. Now they're really playing off of each other. Now you can pick up some personality and everything. And I kind of wish that we can see just a little bit of a tweak, just a little tiny bit with Galli and Bennett. But what they've been doing so far, no complaints whatsoever. Really enjoyed them calling the action here. Overall, they did good. Although I have to say, at one point during this pay-per-view, I sadly had to put the TV on mute. And I was talking about this in Discord and on social media. But you guys that have not watched NWA Hard Times yet, you'll know exactly the spot that I'm talking about. But it gets to a certain point during the pay-per-view where all you hear is this little kid that is screaming his lungs out big time. And shout out to Johnny Florida. Johnny Florida was actually there in attendance. And Johnny was telling me and everybody else in the Discord, oh yeah, man, I'm actually sitting like right next to this kid, man. He's freaking irritating as hell. Now some of you guys may be going, man, what was going on with this kid? This kid was just screaming his lungs off. And I mean, this kid was overly animated. I wouldn't be surprised if the kid was really just saying what they were saying because they were playing off of the crowd and maybe they were playing off of their parents or whatever. But the kid was just so obnoxious. I wanted it, like if I was that kid's parent, I just wanted to be there so bad and say, hey son, yeah, Dad, would you like some ice cream and some pizza after the show? Oh boy, would I? Okay, well here's what you gotta do. All right, you listening? Yeah. Well, you just gotta calm down a little bit and you know, you just be quiet for the rest of the show. You think you can do that? Yeah. When you see something good, I want you to clap your hands or stomp your feet and just throw your fists in the air or something like that. Oh, okay? Okay. And then we'll go get the ice cream and the pizza, okay? Yeah. I wish I could have been there in attendance and I could have been that kid's parent because that's what I would have done. And that kid was so overly animated. You just wanted to slip the kid, you know, a little sippy cup, the usual cup. I'm not talking about a freaking bottle of Deer Park or, you know, a cup of coffee from Starbucks. Just the traditional little half a cap of NyQuil, you know, that kids are supposed to have when they're sick, right? Just slip that into the kid's little softy drink and night night, right? Because the kid was that obnoxious. He really was. I wish I was being a dick to you guys right now. But go back if you haven't watched it yet. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll hear what I'm talking about. I actually had to put it on mute. And I probably had it on mute for about maybe 30% for the rest of the show. Yeah, I mean, that's not really too bad, right? But yeah, it was still pretty noticeable. You guys would definitely peep that out. Next matchup for the NWA World Television Championship. It's your tournament first round matchup. Ricky Starks taking on Matt Cross. Oh, Matt Cross. Matt Cross, 39-year-old Matt Cross. Can somebody please explain to me, with regards to Matt Cross, I know he was there in the WWE for about 1 year. What was it, like 2010 to 2011? But just as how I spent a couple of minutes there talking about Trevor Murdoch and the journeyman that he's been and everything, come on, man. Freaking Matt Cross. How is it that we got Matt Cross, 39-year-old Matt Cross, doesn't even look 39. He looks like he's probably 33 at most, right? I mean, he's aged pretty damn well. Son of Havoc, for those of you that remember your Lucha Underground and everything. How is it that a journeyman like Matt Cross still has not been signed to another major promotion? Just as I said what I had said about Trevor Murdoch, what's going on with Matt Cross? Can you just imagine? Look, let's forget about the whole where he would be suited for his caliber of talent, what he's able to do in that ring. Forget about I would like to see him, right? Because we'd be here all night just saying, where would you like to see him? Can we all just be in agreement that with regards to all the promotions that's out there, all the major ones that's out there, to not pick him up, you just couldn't help but scratch your head and go, how did we not pick this guy up? How we fucked that up, right? This is another guy right here. I mean, pick the promotion and you can just imagine the phenomenal matchups. Some people would even call it dream matchups that this guy would have, right? It's crazy to me, but hey, you know, once again, you got another case right here where NWA, they capitalize. Again, they capitalize. Yeah, he had a pretty damn good matchup here against Ricky Starks. And again, Matt Cross, this was his NWA debut. For as long as a journeyman as he's been so far, believe it or not, this was his NWA debut against Ricky Starks. Yeah. The former Son of Havoc, closing moments of this one, he did a pretty ass bounce off of the ropes as Ricky Starks had sent him bouncing into the ropes. Kind of thought that maybe he was going to go over the ropes or somehow he was going to go outside of the ring. That didn't happen at all. What ended up happening was freaking Cross just bounces off of the ropes while he's still inside, uses that momentum to propel himself off the ropes and does the freaking what was, you know, it looks like it was a damn stunner, but it wasn't a stunner. What he actually did was the Suzuki special, and he was looking for the death from above finisher, but he missed that one. He landed on his feet, but he did miss it. Starks comes in, quick kick to the gut, hits him with the stroke to advance. This was actually a damn good matchup. As far as the matches so far of the card, I know we're just a couple in already, but so far, I would have to say that was one of my most favorite matches of the evening, without a shadow of doubt. Good one right there. All right, our next matchup that was supposed to go down, but it did not. We were supposed to see Mama Storm's good old boy, Tim Storm, take on Ken Anderson. This match was a no-go. Reason why this was a no-go was because Ken Anderson unfortunately suffered an injury. And as a result of that, he couldn't be cleared to wrestle Tim Storm. So by way of forfeit, Tim Storm actually advanced. So Tim Storm did talk about this more. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, he talked about it with Joe Galli actually at the side booth there, talked about it. And he said, hey, look, I don't like the fact that I'm advancing by forfeit. I don't. But hey, I will take the bye. No problem. I'll take it. But now what this means for me is instead of me needing to win 3 matches to become the new NWA television champion. Now I just need two matches. I just need 2 wins and I'll be the new NWA TV champion. So yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll take the bye. All right, next up, we had Joe Galli and Stu Bennett once again. They were promoting the next NWA pay-per-view event. Is going to be dropping in April of this year. And they had thanked GBP Studios. They had thanked the fans for having them have a successful first 2 pay-per-views and everything. And they said that with regards to the next pay-per-view, things were going to be bigger and better. And the way Stu had actually cut the promo when he was setting this up, you were kind of led to the impression, don't believe me, just go back and watch it. It's not overanalyzing. Just go back and watch it and you'll come away with the same impression first take, which was, oh, so already NWA, they're going to be moving the pay-per-view to outside of Atlanta. They're going to be going to another city, or they're going to be going to another state. Okay, just based off the way Bennett was talking. But nah, instead what was revealed was the Jim Crockett tournament is going to be coming back. That's what's going down. So I'm excited for that. Looking forward to that. And it looks like that is going to be held at the GBP Studios. So they even pulled up the graphic. They had let us see. So that's how I know that it's going to be in Atlanta again. But you were really under the impression that it was going to be happening outside of Atlanta. But hey, it's still good news, right? And shout out to Stu Bennett. Stu Bennett, he actually kind of played up to his Bad News Barrett gimmick a little bit, but instead of saying he's got some bad news, he said, I've got some breaking news. And he actually said to the crowd, I think we got a catchphrase there. Maybe we can do something with that. And then he quickly said, let's research that a little bit more first. And then, but no, I think once he gets it past legal, I think he's fine. I think he's perfectly fine. I don't see WWE doing any petty. I'd be surprised. I would really be surprised. Let's see. D, I see your question. I'll get to that at the conclusion of the recap here, because we only got a couple more matches to talk about. But if you guys had saw the NWA Hard Times pay-per-view event, I do want to know what you guys thought about it. I have 2 polls that's up right now. One is on Twitter and the other is on YouTube. You can see the one on YouTube by clicking over the communities tab and you can vote that way. I can tell you right now that with our own respected followers, because I put up 2 different polls on Twitter with regards to polling our RCWR listeners, 100% of folks had gave the pay-per-view a thumbs up. Now, we did actually go on NWA's profile to gauge the fans as well, get their honest feedback of it. 96.7% gave the pay-per-view a thumbs up, and looks like 3.3% of folks gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down. I would love to know what was going on with that 3.3% of people that gave it a thumbs down. I'm very, very curious. And polling for YouTube is still very early, but just to peek my head in there real quick and see what you guys said, if you said anything. As a matter of fact, you know what? Hang on a second. It would actually help. Hang on a second. I had plugged you guys checking out the show, but I did not put a poll up on YouTube. So actually, let me put the poll up real quick here. And it's only a couple of seconds. Give me about 10 seconds, guys. And the poll will go live. And it's live right now. All right, so if you go on back to YouTube, click on the communities tab and the poll is up that way. So just in case, I don't know. Some of you guys got Twitter. Some of you guys don't. So whichever is more convenient for you, you don't need to double dip. Just let your voice be heard. And we'll circle back right before the show is over. Get you guys general feedback about what you thought about the pay-per-view. But yeah, vote. Sound off. Let me know what you thought about the pay-per-view overall. You can definitely comment and all that good stuff as well. Let's continue on here. So our next matchup here of the evening. Let's see here. We had Strictly Business taking on Eli Drake and the Cowboy James Storm and the Rock and Roll Express. This was a triple threat dance for the NWA tag titles. Love this matchup. This one that was actually pretty good as well. I mean, all of these matches I thoroughly had enjoyed. There really wasn't any that made me go, I really could do without this matchup, honestly. If I had one gripe about the tag match, I wish it would have went just a little bit longer, but at the same time, given what happened with regards to the next match, I was okay with the timing of it. The NWA Tag Team title match went about under 10 minutes, I would have to say. We got new tag team champions. It came in the form of Eli Drake. I think I might have said Drake Maverick a few seconds ago, but it's actually Eli Drake. Who knows? Maybe I didn't say it. Maybe I said it right the first time. Who knows? But Eli Drake, Cowboy, James Storm are your new NWA tag champions. Let's pick that up. Let you guys know what happened in the final moments of that one there. So we had saw Ricky. This is crazy. Ricky of the Rock and Roll Express hitting the Canadian Destroyer. I tell you, I was just amazed that it's almost like watching the old guy from the commercial. You all know exactly the commercial I'm talking about too. The old man that was saying, oh, I was like many of you Americans out there, and I was having severe back pains, right down to the point I couldn't do the simplest things around the house. I couldn't sweep, I couldn't mop, I couldn't even bend over to pick up a newspaper. And then I came up with the, I don't know, let's do the twist, whatever the hell he calls that damn thing. You know exactly the joint I'm talking about. It's like a chair, and you're basically upside down, and you can basically realign your spine and do all these exercises. And then he always does the Mario jump. He goes, I'm in my 80s, and I feel great. You know, like Tony the Tiger or some shit. And, I'm looking at Ricky, and I'm seeing him doing the freaking Canadian Destroyer. I'm going, oh my God, sweet Jesus. Like, Pops, you really don't have to do all of that. Like, seriously, you really don't. Please, I don't want anything crazy happening to you, man. Like seriously. But no, he does the freaking Canadian Destroyer on Thomas Latimer, aka Bram. I just couldn't help. My mouth was just, in real time, my mouth was just to the floor. Eyes big as, like, I don't know what, going, holy crap, that was beautiful, right? So you thought that maybe the match was going to be over at that point, but it really kind of seemed as though when Ricky had did that, it was a move out of desperation to basically give himself a little bit of distance from Latimer so he can try to go and tag in his partner. But, his partner had a little bit of issues outside of the ring. Yeah, Ricky, he hit that beautiful Canadian Destroyer. Robert looking for the hot tag, but Camille was grabbing at his leg, so he's distracted by her loveliness. From there, Ricky, he's pretty much realizing he's got to go at this alone because he can't get that hot tag in there. Looked as though maybe he was trying to go for the Canadian Destroyer again, but this go round, the Cowboy intervenes from outside of the ring. He's actually grabbing on the ankle of Ricky. And this basically sets up Eli Drake to pretty much go in there. Eli Drake connects with the gravy train, gets the 1, 2, 3, and that's how you got your new tag team champions that way. By the way, for you guys that have watched the pay-per-view, do I have the right opponent? Was that Latimer that had got the Canadian Destroyer, or was that Eli Drake? I believe I have the right people because I know I was quickly taking down notes, and I'm just looking up and down. I believe I got it right, but I know you guys will definitely correct me and everybody else if that be the case. But yeah, we got new tag team champions there. Afterwards, we saw Cowboy James Storm and Eli Drake cut a nice little promo. asking the crowd what their new name should be. Should they be called Beer Muscles or should they be called Bottoms Up? You don't want to be called Bottoms Up, brothers. Let me tell you something. That definitely would not fly well in the nation's capital here, because one of the hottest areas over here in the nation's capital is DuPont Circle. And, hey, look, don't take my word for it. Mick Foley had said it himself when he did his one-man show here at DC Improv a couple of years back. And, hey, all I'm saying, you're going to get the wrong type of attention if you're going to be running around calling yourself Bottoms Up. All right, so you don't really want to be calling yourselves that. And then they also had called themselves, Drinking Buddies. And it was a nice little promo. They said, look, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call them, what you can call them on this night going forward is tag team champions. So, and I think it's kind of cool how they're now kind of complimenting each other pretty well as far as Eli Drake's beard and hair dye. Just several weeks back, we saw him have this blonde look. And now he has a dark beard, dark hair, almost kind of looking like James Storm's twin, just with shorter hair and all that. So, but yeah, that was a good tag match. Let's talk about the match of the evening. As Paul had mentioned in the chat, Rosa, Thunder Rosa taking on Alysin Kay for the NWA Women's title. This, if I were to point out any match in particular that I would recommend folks check out, look, if you got $20 to spare overall, and you ask me straight up, is NWA Hard Times, Lee, should I check it out? I got $20 to spend. I would say hell to the yes, especially if you had checked out Into the Fire and you thoroughly enjoyed that one. You will definitely enjoy this one. Come on, it's $20. You ain't got nothing to lose. Think you're going to be able to find it through your respective cable satellite provider? Good luck with that. I know for Verizon Fios customers, it was not available. The only place who had purchased this was, at least for me was for Fight TV. Maybe it was different for some of you other cats. You could definitely sound off in the comment section. But this match went about 20 minutes long. This was the match of the evening. I got to give mad props to Thunder Rosa and Alysin Kay. And for me in particular, with regards to Alysin Kay in this one match, I know she gets a lot of crap. She gets some heat for some of the things that she says on social media. I know there was a little bit of pot stirring, if you will, for what went down there with Tessa Blanchard a couple of weeks ago. And that's long, drawn out, outwinded. And we don't need to rehash that whole thing all over again. So we're not going to bring that up. But, I know she had some people that were saying not too kind things about her. And there's been some things that she said on social media over the years that, kind of rub people the wrong way and everything. But when you really capitalize on what she can do in that ring, man, homegirl really does shine. And I mentioned this because I'm following up on what I had mentioned, it feels like maybe 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Alysin Kay, and I had said, man, you see how they did her, you see how they did Marty Bell, you see how they did Mia Yim, you see how they did, I'd be here all night just going through the names, but there's so many of those girls you look at that were in Impact Wrestling and you go, man, they're drizzling shits. What the hell? Even freaking Laurel Van Ness, aka Chelsea Green, right? You just see all of those girls when they were in Impact, and Impact just did not properly utilize them the way that they should have been utilized. Even Santana Garrett, the great Santana Garrett, they didn't even properly utilize her. So, I really hope that now that, more eyes are coming on board with the NWA, I know there's probably a lot newer fans that are getting familiar with a lot of these people, for sure. Alysin Kay. Now you kind of see what I've been talking about off and on about her over the years and everything. This was a great freaking back and forth for about 20 minutes here. I love how the bell pretty much had rung. and these girls are just charging at each other, and they've got the fists going to each other's faces and to the bodies and everything. Alysin Kay with the takedown, Luthez takedown, and just throwing the punches on Homegirl and everything. I loved all that. I was eating all of that up. Just good shit, man. All of that was good shit. Thunder Rosa, your new NWA Women's Champion. No controversy involved in this either. You would have thought that maybe Marty Bell would have came out. Maybe Melina would have came out. No, they took a back seat. Their presence was not felt anywhere at ringside. You didn't even see them. They let Thunder Rosa go out there, and she did the damn thing. And man, did she do it with freaking authority, man. Let's pick it up. Closing moments of this matchup here. I'm just looking at my notes. If you see me kind of putting my head down just a little bit, I'm just looking at my notes, but I am seeing what you guys are saying in the chat. And with regards to the question about Scott Steiner, that's actually the next match that we'll be talking about in a hot second. So hang tight, my friend. Hang tight. All right, so let's talk about that closing moments there for the women's match. A lot of near falls in this one, too. All right, so the closing moments of this one, we saw a fired up Thunder Rosa coming in there as Alysin Kay tried to do her best to fight her off. AK-47 connected. That only got her a near fall as Rosa kicked out. We saw Alysin try to go in for another cover. Kay kicked out again. Kay's arm is a bit hurt too at this point because Rosa did put a lot of emphasis on that arm, and I loved how Bennett and them were mentioning Thunder Rosa's MMA background and all of that, right? So can't help but wonder how much of a factor is that going to play. And, you know, not for nothing, but Thunder Rosa, for all the training that she's been doing, you know, you can still see that she has a little bit of that MMA build going on and everything, but compared to compared to Alysin Kay still looks like a pretty big girl when it's all said and done. And when I say big, I don't mean overweight, you know, obese or anything like that. But she does stand over Thunder Rosa, kind of like a Amazonian, so to speak. But they were trading strikes, they were trading chops, crazy fists. Rosa locked in on a guillotine choke. Kay was able to fight that off. They work over to the top rope. Kay follows with strikes, chops. Rosa comes right back, follows up with a sunset bomb. That only got her a near fall. Head kick by Alysin Kay. Then she tried to set up Rosa in an arm bar, and Kay powers up. Rosa hits with the Thunder Driver, gets the W. Again, 1, 2, 3, about 20 minutes there. You know, some spots were a little bit, but overall, I'd be nitpicking if I were to go over those spots. You know, it's really something you could just glance over. But, like, overall, it was a damn good women's match. I mean, I would dare say to the point that for the month of January, because pretty much what I like about January 1st of each new calendar year, for me, all the promotions, they reset. So I'm looking at their very first pay-per-views of the new year, and I'm going, okay, show me something. Do you potentially have a match of the year candidate here for your respective promotion? For me, looking at what the women had did here tonight, that gets an honorable, in my book at least, it gets an honorable match of the year candidate. No doubt about that. Post-match, Melina and Marty Bell, they came out and they celebrated with Rosa. Kind of seemed as though maybe they were going to attack her. That's just the vibe that you were kind of left with, but nothing happened. They celebrated. Crowd was chanting to Rosa, "You deserve it." And I find that amazing how quickly they've latched on to Thunder Rosa and everything. Fantastic. And once again, shout out to Johnny Florida. I know he's going to be making his rounds, checking out what people were saying about the NWA Hard Times pay-per-view and all that. Shout out to him, especially because he actually had got a really cool autograph from Thunder Rosa. As I had mentioned a few minutes ago, for those of you that maybe are just now tuning in live, he was actually there in attendance and everything. And great seats that he had from some of the pictures that he took. But yeah, he actually had got a really cool autograph from Thunder Rosa. I think it said something along the lines of "your new NWA Women's Champion" or something to that effect. All right, so after that, we saw Marty Scurll. Marty Scurll made his way and he took shots at Nick Aldis, basically for ducking, jabbing, conniving, manipulating his way out of not having a rematch with him. As far as Marty Scurll is concerned, hey, look, I know you said you beat me before, right? Okay, I get that. You beat me before, true that, but why should you be scared? If you beat me before and I'm looking for a rematch from you, why should you be scared? You should have even more confidence in the world. And come on, what bragging rights that would be to say you defeated me twice. Come on now. But yeah, and then to change the main event match. It was supposed to be titles on the line there with regards to Nick Aldis putting up his joint, Flip Gordon and all that. But for some weird reason, it didn't go down that way. Apparently, this is now a non-title matchup, and Marty Scurll really playing up to the crowd and everything. You're saying, look, Nick Aldis, you talk a really good game. I'll give you credit for that. You talk a really good game, but come on, these people that paid for this pay-per-view all around the world, checking this out on Fight TV and everything, you're cheating them. How you going to do them like this, right? Like, give them what they want. So Nick Aldis, he comes out talking about how he's flabbergasted at Marty Scurll's audacity and telling him, hey, look, you may be running roughshod down there in ROH, but here in NWA, I'm the one that calls the shots, right? Not for nothing, but when I was over there in ROH, I put that company on my back. I took it to new heights, which is the same thing that I'm doing here in the NWA. It's like, so, all this little stuff that you saying, look, man, one ear out the other. I ain't tripping over you. But Nick Aldis did put a very interesting stipulation out there. He said to Marty, if he defeats Flip tonight, check this out now, check this out. He said that he'll go ahead and he'll defend the title against Flip. But if Flip wins, remember this now, he'll defend against Flip. If Flip wins, but he won't. But if Nick wins, all of their business is on his terms. Again, all of his business is on his terms. So if Flip would have won, then Flip would have gotten the NWA title and, the bragging rights and all that shit that would have went with it. But however, if Nick Aldis won, then some dark days are ahead for ROH. More on that in a little bit. TV title tournament semifinal match. Trevor Murdoch taking on Dan Maff. This was like watching two tractor trailers colliding. This was fantastic. I enjoyed this. Two big bulls going at it. Short ass match, but all the spots, the stories that needed to be told. A lot of hard chopping was going on in this one. I mean, by the time this match was over, Trevor Murdoch's chest looked like ground freaking chuck. I BS you not. I really wish I was exaggerating. I'm not. Beat red, ground chuck at its finest. A lot of hard chops, a lot of back rakes, a lot of chopping. Whole lot of chopping going on though. Headbutts, all that stuff. Closing moments of this one. Trevor Murdoch winning once again with the bulldog from the top rope. That's how he was able to advance. But yeah, two massive bulls just going at it. I would actually love to see these two guys. This is how much I enjoyed them. I actually would love to see them have another match. But I want to extend that even further. I wouldn't mind seeing these two guys as a tag team and going for the NWA tag team titles. I think the chemistry that they had together in that ring tonight, I think they would gel even more so 10 times over as a tag team. But I will settle for a rematch or make them a tag team. That's how impressed I was with these guys. TV title tournament match, semifinal here. Ricky Starks taking on Tim Storm. This one went about almost 5 minutes long. Ricky Starks coming out of this to defeat Tim Storm. Closing moments of this one. Let's pick it up off the ropes there. Ricky had countered into a jawbreaker, but ran into the perfect storm. Ricky counters a suplex into a cradle for a near fall. That got followed up with the flapjack driver, followed by a 2 count. Ricky followed up with some kicks. countered the Perfect Storm once again, and the Crucifix had followed up for the W. It was a good match, a little short, like I said, about 5 minutes. It was okay. Some people may question whether or not this was the right call as far as Ricky Starks defeating Tim Storm. I don't know. That's up for debate. I mean, me personally, I would have loved to seen Tim Storm go into the finals, but I'm actually cool with the newer, fresher, right? I'm all for paying it forward and everything. I'm down with that. NWA National Champion Shooter Stevens, or Aaron Stevens, taking on the Big Bad Booty Daddy, Scott Steiner. Ryan Martin, here's your match, my friend. No, Scott Steiner did not win. There was some serious fuckery that went down in this one. First off, yeah, I need y'all to enlighten me, because it's rare that I see Scott Steiner. But I gotta be honest, there was a couple episodes of NWA Power I did miss. So Scott Steiner, bald head, I'm still getting used to it. You guys gotta forgive me, right? No matter how long he's been pushing it, I'm still getting used to the bald head. Is it just me, or is he looking more and more like the karate version of superstar Billy Graham? I mean, it's really, really eerie. You just put a pick by pick, do like a little comparison. It's creepy how they look so similar. Almost got the same build too, to a degree. But yeah, this one had went about 6 minutes long. This match got thrown out via DQ, sadly. It wasn't a horrible finish, but what was really weak about this match, honestly, was just all the silly shenanigans that had went down in it for me personally. I mean, look, when it's all said and done, okay, look, it's Aaron Stevens. Okay, question mark is going to be involved, and I don't know, for me, I felt that it was just a little bit too gimmicky, right? To each its own, but for me, I just felt it was a little bit too gimmicky. So, closing moments of this one, we saw Aaron Stevens. He had went up to the middle rope. He was looking for, I guess, a double axle. Maybe that's what he was looking for, a double axle chop or whatever. Scott Steiner catches him, and he quickly counters it. I shouldn't say quickly, because you know how slow Steiner moves these days. But he casually turned it into... I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but it's the truth. Scott Steiner, he's not moving as fast as he used to from back in the day or whatever. But, he uses the momentum and turns it into a flatliner. And then he tries to set up the Steiner recliner. And he does so successfully. But then, just when you think that, okay, this is it, we're going to have ourselves a winner here, like this match is over, question mark comes from behind Steiner, chops him on the back. Referee has no choice but to throw the match out. And from there, Aaron Stevens, he hauled ass like, I don't know what, man. He hauled ass like a mofo. Championship and all. He hauled ass. I was laughing my ass off at that spot too, man, because it was like, dude, Aaron, how you gonna leave your boy? How you gonna leave your boy hanging like that? Because remember, this was the singles match for the NWA National Championships. Like, how you gonna leave your boy hanging like that? He came to your aid, and really, dude? And so Scott Steiner, afterwards, he's upset. He's looking at the referee. Question mark starts to come to. He hits him with a clothesline. Then he's looking at the referee once again. He throws the referee out of the ring. He's just there, pissed off and everything. All right, so obviously this feud is going to continue. Okay, all right, that's cool, right? We're down with that. All right, next up, see, where are we now? So we just covered about 8 matches up to that point. Nah, we only got like 2 more matches left. Our next match was Dan... No, we talked about that one. We talked about Trevor Murdoch taking on Dan Maff already. Yeah. No, actually, we only got... Yeah, I said it right. We got 2 more matches left. So our next match... And this is where I was a little bit confused, so you guys got to forgive me. So you would have thought that with regards to Flip Gordon taking on Nick Aldis, that would have ended the pay-per-view. That wasn't the case. what actually ended the pay-per-view was the NWA World Television Championship match. That actually ended the night. All right. So our next match was actually Flip Gordon taking on Nick Aldis, NWA versus ROH, a interpromotional matchup here. This one was actually pretty good as well. I don't really have any complaints for this matchup as well. This one went about, looking at my notes here, this one went about 16, almost 17 minutes. This was actually pretty good. You know, if you're still relatively new to Flip Gordon, you haven't really been checking out ROH and some of the other promotions that he's been able to work in and everything, then this was the proper introduction for you to see what all the buzz and everything was about with Flip Gordon. And I tell you what, if you didn't become a Flip Gordon fan by the end of the night, I'm not really sure what to tell you. Like, seriously. And with regards to the question about the Pope, I saw nothing with regards to Pope D'Angelo De Niro. Mike Anderson is asking a question in the chat about if Pope D'Angelo De Niro was featured. No, nothing with regards to the Pope. But with regards to this Nick Aldis taking on Flip Gordon match, this was, again, looking at all of the matches for the night. I just gave you high marks for Thunder Rosa taking on Alysin Kay. I've got to give also high marks to Nick Aldis taking on Flip Gordon. Two good, fine-ass matches right here. So closing moments of this one here, let's talk about that. And then we'll take a look at the last match of the evening. And from there, we'll take a look at those polls one more time, see what you guys have to say about NWA Hard Times overall. All right, so let's pick it up here. So closing moments here, we saw a Tombstone Pile Driver. Yes, and this was by Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis had actually Tombstone Pile Drive Flip Gordon. Went up to the top rope, did a elbow drop. That only got him a near fall. Gordon would then connect with a pretty Pele, then followed it up with the crossface. Aldis managed to fight that off by reaching out for the rope successfully. Afterwards, traded a few strikes. Gordon pretty fired up as Aldis looks for the clover leaf, but Gordon managed to escape that. Hits the hook kick, also a modified version of the stunner. Goes in for another cover that gets him a 2 count. Aldis cuts off, counters with a victory roll, and is able to pin Gordon that way. No controversy whatsoever. If you guys were maybe thinking Nick Aldis was maybe going to have some help from Camille, or maybe he was going to grab a nice big old chunk of the tights or something like that. No, he barely got out of there with the W, though. I think if one more second would have been tacked on, Flip Gordon would have kicked out of that for sure. But what I really liked about this match the most was the fact that, and I like that on top of this being an interpromotional match, I love the fact that the way it was booked, they made Flip Gordon look like a legitimate threat to Nick Aldis's championship. I really had enjoyed that story that they had told, because you're looking at the size differential and you're going, man, you know, Aldis all the way. It's not like Nick Aldis and Marty Scurll. It's not on that type of level, right? Because it's definitely one-sided when you look at Nick Aldis and Flip Gordon. But I'm sorry, Nick Aldis and Marty Scurll. But when you look at Nick Aldis and Flip Gordon, you're kind of going, it's a bit one-sided, but no, it's actually believable. Look, Flip Gordon, he looks pretty bulky, seems pretty. All right, let's see what he can do and everything. But I love how you had so many near falls and you had so many close encounters. It really felt as though this could have went either way. You were really left at the edge of your seat wondering, well, what is Nick Aldis going to have to do to get out of this? Can he win without there being any shenanigans? Can he win without any controversy? Or is he going to have to resort to that? And thus, here we are once again, and he just adds even more fuel to the fire of what all Marty Scurll has been talking about and everything. But again, as a result of all this picking up the W, he now calls the shots with regards to this feud with Marty Scurll due to the match stipulations that they had agreed upon earlier. So, Flip Gordon might have came out of there a bit, oh man, when it counted the most, but his stock definitely had increased, at least in my eyes, and I'm sure in a lot of people's eyes, as far as the great outing he had with Aldis tonight. Main event match of the night, your TV title tournament finals, Ricky Starks taking on Trevor Murdoch. This went about almost 10 minutes long. No time limit for this one. There needed to be a winner for this one when it was all said and done. Your new TV champion is Ricky Starks. This was good. This was good because you looked at this and you're going, okay, so you've got the established veteran in Trevor Murdoch, the journeyman, the guy who I just sung high praises for earlier in the night, earlier on this show, taking on the young up-and-comer. And this is where you kind of have to be selfish a little bit, and you got to go, it's got to be about pushing the younger talent. It's got to be about selling the merchandise, selling at the gates and all of that. And look, Ricky Starks, great looking face, great looking physique, charismatic, right? All of that plays off well with the fans in attendance and all that, right? Does pretty good on social media. That's the kind of guy that you want to try to build around, right, in your promotion. So them pulling the trigger and making Ricky Starks the new NWA TV champion, I don't really have a problem with that. And I don't really think anybody else should have a problem with that. I think the only people that would have a problem with that is maybe the die-hard, old school fans that, but I tell you, Trevor Murdoch, yeah, Lee, he is kind of like Harley Race. Yeah, I was really rooting for him. You could almost kind of make the argument that Trevor Murdoch, he gets no respect, I tell you. You could almost kind of pull one of those little references. But no, the fact that they basically went with the young up-and-comer over the veteran, it was the right move. And I think going back to the predictions, I got to look back and see how I did. But I want to say I had a young up-and-comer going over. I think for me, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I am going to go check when we were going over the match card, and I think I was offering predictions. I believe I did that on Wednesday's show of this week. I want to say that the finals, I believe I had Matt Cross, and I'm not sure if I had him taking on Ricky Starks or if it was Tim Storm in there. I'm a little confused right there, but I know I had kept saying Matt Cross is in the finals. But now, closing moments of this one. Let me look at my notes here real quick here. Let's see. Bear with me a second here. Yeah. I mean, look, about 9 minutes and some change. Closing moments of this one. A little bit of back and forth. Murdoch had followed up with a suplex that only got him a near fall. Starks had managed to slip on a tornado DDT. Slip out of it, I should say. Murdoch had hit with a lariat that only got him a 2 count. Later on, Starks came into the corner, takes him up to the top. Murdoch falls with some strikes. Starks fires back, slips out into a Liger bomb that only got him a 2 count. Murdoch managed to fight off the stroke, but Starks hits the spear that only got him a 2 count once again. But this go round, Starks looked for the stroke, connected. 1, 2, 3. Ricky Starks, your new NWA TV champion. Once again, it was good that they went on ahead and they were trying to establish the young up-and-coming talent as opposed to just going with the veteran, right? So once again, when you're looking at all of these matches for tonight, just to recap once again for your winners here. So you've got Ricky Starks, your new NWA TV champion. You've got Thunder Rosa, your new NWA Women's Champion. Nick Aldis defeating Flip Gordon in the interpromotional matchup. Aaron Stevens retaining the NWA National Championship. So you automatically know, based off of the shenanigans that went down, the program between he and Scott Steiner, that's going to continue without a shadow of doubt. What is next for Alysin Kay? Is she maybe going to try to go for a rematch? I mean, honestly, the way that whole thing ended, the fact there was no controversies whatsoever, she lost fair and square, right? Okay, so what new challenge is on the horizon there for Thunder Rosa? You know, is Melina really cool with Thunder Rosa having the title part of their little clique and everything, or is Melina gonna get green with envy, right? Like, you kind of wonder about what's going on with those respective dynamics as well. And then you've got Eli Drake, James Storm, your new NWA Tag Team Champions. What's on the horizon for those guys? What threat is possibly going to be coming their way? Nice to see the handshakes too, by the way, by the Rock and Roll Express to those guys. That was pretty classy what went down there. Yeah, so, you know, a lot of interesting stuff in setting up NWA Power programming this coming week. For those of you curious, they are going to be back with their regular programming this Tuesday on YouTube. So can't wait for that. And I see Paul, he was saying, hey, enjoyed the pay-per-view overall. That's great. You guys that had saw NWA Into the Fire, why am I thinking Into the Fire? Forgive me. NWA Hard Times. Let me know what you had thought about the pay-per-view overall, as I'm taking one last look at what you guys had said in the polling results, seeing what you guys had to say. And bear with me here as I get ready to pull that up. And as I'm pulling that up, I do want to give you guys some quick programming notes. So, busy weekend, Saturday, for you Patreon members, we're going to have the WWE Worlds Collide pay-per-view event post-show. Again, Patreon members, that's going to be exclusive for you guys. That Worlds Collide pay-per-view recap will not be available anywhere else. If you are not a Patreon member, do sign up. Only $5 monthly, and you get bonus access to audio, a lot of video content, great majority you're not going to be able to find anywhere else, as we love doing great exclusives for our Patreon Familia family. So check that out when you guys get an opportunity. And patreon.com/RCWR show. And then Sunday, we've got the WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view post show. That will be live on YouTube for you guys to check out. So hope you guys are going to be checking that out. And if not, you know, at least check out the post show, you know, that way you don't have to sit through the 3 hours of wrestling. You can pretty much come get your fix on the post show for about an hour, you know, maybe an hour 15 at most, you know, get in, get out, and then go back to enjoying the rest of your night and everything. To the Twitter poll, we go here one more time, seeing what y'all had to say about tonight's NWA Hard Times pay-per-view event. Again, we have polled you guys twice on Twitter. The first poll that we have, that was for our respected RCWR show followers. And then the next poll that we did, we had reached out to NWA on their respected social media feed, trying to see what people had to say about the pay-per-view. So for our RCWR show listeners themselves, they are now at still 100% for tonight's Hard Times pay-per-view event. Okay. All right. Meanwhile, over on NWA social media, same poll, we have 3.2% that are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 96.8% are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up, right? Meanwhile, on YouTube, maybe you don't have Twitter, we got you covered on YouTube as well. Click on the communities tab and you can vote that way. Let's see what we got going on here on YouTube before we get ready to roll out. Interesting. Okay, so still early, but on YouTube, we have 80% of you that are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. Meanwhile, 20% of you are giving it a thumbs down. All right. And yeah, so that is going to do it. I mean, closing thoughts, though, for the pay-per-view. Fantastic. I'll say it again. If you have the $20, you're looking to blow some money on some wrestling this weekend, Hard Times, you will not be disappointed. I just went over all of the matches, and just looking at the card one more time, I mean, just for the $20 alone, just to see Trevor Murdoch and how he was throwing it down, right? Just to see Thunder Rosa taking on Alysin Kay, the triple threat match for the NWA tag titles, Flip Gordon taking on Nick Aldis. Just for those matches alone, is worth the $20. You will not be disappointed. You will definitely agree with the majority of the polling results that you have heard so far, which is majority on the side of thumbs up. So you will definitely be on that side. I'd be shocked if you were on the side of the negative. Yeah? Or thumbs down, whatever you want to call it, right? All right, so you can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. I am most active on Twitter, so say hello. And please support the YouTube channel as well. You know, there used to be a time where we were streaming live on YouTube and we were streaming the audio version of the show as well. But sadly, I found out the hard way that my bandwidth was being eaten up whenever I would simulcast like that. And so if you guys were noticing that there was a lot of lagging going on in the previous streams, that's why. It's because we were simultaneously streaming on multiple outlets. And I was doing it the hard way, whereas just going to a site like Restream and just... So we kind of had to tone it down and just go, okay, well, you know, where we want to go first. So YouTube, that's pretty much it. YouTube will always get first dibs for the webcast version of the shows. And then for the audio version, pretty much once the webcast version is over, I'll pretty much do the quick edits, get it out to you guys ASAP as quickly as possible. But yes, once again, Saturday, Patreon members, it's actually Saturday right now. We're here on the East Coast now. But Saturday night, patreon.com/RCWR show, you guys will get your WWE Worlds Collide post show. And then Sunday night is the Royal Rumble pay-per-view post show. That will be available on YouTube for everybody to check out. Follow me on Discord. I got a link in the episode description. I am going to open up the phone lines. So if you want to let me know what you thought about the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, you'll be able to do so by joining our Discord chat. And then when it comes time, you know, you want to say something about the pay-per-view, you can actually come on the air with me and sound off about what you thought about the pay-per-view. So, and plus, you get to interact with me and everybody else in the community there in between the shows. I think right now we've got about over... I think we're now at 35 or maybe 40 members that's now part of our Discord family. Yeah, so, you know, go check it out. It's some good shit. Again, it's in the episode description. Or if you're following me on Twitter, just read my Twitter profile. I actually have the link in the Twitter profile. But yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you, Mike, for the kind words. Appreciate that. I'm glad that you appreciated the review. I hope everybody else had appreciated the pay-per-view recap and review. Shout out to everybody that had joined me live and was interacting. It was nice reading you all's comments. Shout out to those of you that will be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. And until next go round, I'm wishing all of you guys to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys. If not for that Patreon Worlds Collide, I will definitely see you for Royal Rumble, the post show. You all do. Take care. Enjoy that weekend. Don't party too hard.